Hello, I am Jason here at Guitar Solo Dojo. Welcome back. We're going to talk about some symmetrical scales today. And I've talked about it before, but I realized there's two different kinds of symmetrical scales. Well, not really. There's only one, but guitarists have made up their own use of symmetrical scales too. So the traditional symmetrical scale is where you sort of divide the octave into equal parts, like a whole tone scale, or you can get a diminished scale kind of thing, not like a full diminished or half diminished scale or something like that, more in terms of like an arpeggio, or we're dividing the octave into 1.5 step parts. In this case, on the guitar, we have our dorky little things that we do where we just create patterns that look exactly the same on every string. And there's the symmetry that we're talking about there. So not necessarily like a theoretical symmetry, but a physical symmetry on the neck, okay? And so all you do is you take several notes on each string at least, and then we're going to have repeating that pattern on each string. So I could start with like a whole step and a half step. So no real musical theory behind it. It's just it looks like a pattern, and if you play it fast enough, it can sound cool. So one that Eddie would do often would be half step and then a whole step. So he would go like this. So if we listen to it slowly, no real musical relevance, but as you speed it up, it sounds like Eddie Van Halen. Pretty cool. So you can get away with a lot of stuff as long as you go through it quickly and you get kind of creative with it. So that's the essence of a symmetrical scale or pattern. We're not even going to call it a scale, I guess. So one prime example is the intro lick to Ice Cream Man in the solo. So the pattern that he's working off there, he starts with a 4-note pattern on the high E string. Then as he transfers that to the B and the rest of the strings, then it becomes a 3-note pattern. So he gets this thing. A really, really cool sounding thing. And as you build up speed, it starts to sound more and more cool, and you don't notice all the little nuances of the notes actually not sounding so great. It just actually adds a little flavor to it. So something comparable to that Nuno Betancourt did in the middle of his Get the Funk Out solo, right after the big O tapping section that he had. You'll see this thing where he's using a 3-note pattern just on 2 strings, the high E and the B, where he's starting from the 12th fret. And it looks like a diminished, but it doesn't sound like a diminished because this is the way the guitar is tuned. It sounds like this. So you're actually dropping pitch when you go to that high E string. Okay, and I'll try to play this lick slowly. I always forget it when I play it slow, but it sounds like this. And it goes to the next little part of the song or the solo. And so that's another really, really good example of a symmetrical scale pattern, not scale. One more thing, on the intro to Hot for Teacher, coming out of the long, that whole tapping intro, he has this little segue into the rhythm part, where he takes yet another symmetrical scale pattern, and he just, here's what it looks like. Of course, in the song, he descends on it, but he does it with a little twist, and he adds a tap on the 12th fret of the strings that he's also playing. So here's how it looks really slowly. And of course, it doesn't sound very musical, but using that speed and that Eddie flavor, it sounds really cool. So make your own symmetrical scales, toy around with some other symmetrical scales, but either way, have a good time doing it.